Welcome to video lecture series on embedded systems. I am Kanakadurga from St. Peter's Engineering College, working as an associate professor in EC department. I want to discuss on characteristics and quality attributes of embedded systems. Content outline are characteristics of embedded systems and quality attributes of embedded systems. The learning objectives are mainly we are going to concentrate in this talk is describing of embedded systems and the non-functionality requirements and needs to be addressed in the designing of embedded systems. What are the considerations we have to consider for designing of embedded systems, and we are going to consider and the important quality of attributes like online mode and offline mode, and in the online mode what are the parameters it going to be depends upon response, throughput, reliability and maintainability, security and safety. And in the offline mode or else it will be called as a non-operational mode, and this it includes with testability and evolvability, portability and time to prototype of the market, and per unit cost and revenue, etc. And we are going to see and learn mainly on the product life cycle. So already in the previous lectures we have discussed what is an embedded system and how it going to be different with respect to the general purpose of a system, computing system. So embedded system is nothing but it is a combination of hardware and software. It going to be perform specific task within the scheduled time by following the set of instructions. But when comes to the general purpose system, is going to do it going to be done so many tasks. It is not a single task or not, it is not a specific task. It going to do the operations of multitasking. The general purpose computer systems are it is a multitasking systems, and it having the quality of matrix. And this the attributes of embedded systems is also associated with the quality. So the characteristics of embedded systems we have to consider mainly with the purpose of, and the characteristics of embedded systems are application and domain specific, reactive and real time, operates in a harsh environment, distributed, small size and weight, and power consumptions. When we are going to design the embedded systems and at that time we have to concentrate on these characteristics of embedded systems, since it should be has to do the specific task only. It is going to be applied only for single application purpose, and it has to be reactive with the real time, and the operation has to be completed within the specified time. So we will see one by one. So the first one is application and domain specific. Already we know that the embedded systems are going to perform only the specific task only, and it is specially designed in order to perform only a single task, and it will not do any other task. Example, if you consider a washing machine, it going to be wash only the clothes. It cannot able to cook, and it cannot able to do mixing other things. And when comes to the air conditioner purpose, it going to be control the unit of temperature of the room temperature, and it cannot go for the other one playing of the videos, or it cannot do the microwave things. So because the embedded systems has been designed in order to perform a specific task, nothing but only it has to do only one application. It has to be in the one specific domain only. So it is mainly designed in order to perform the specific task only. And when comes to that, the DVD player, it has to play only the videos. When comes to the hearing aid, it has to process only the signal processing. It should not do no other activities or like video or the things. It cannot go for that. It just has to process the signal of audio. When comes to the telecom, it has to send the communication information what the sender has been spoken. It has to be only the transmit and the receiving session only. It has to go for only the specific task of the things. So the embedded system, when we are designing of the thing, we should have the main thing for which application we are designing this device of embedded device, for what application we are going for specific. So for that only we have to see the scenarios, what is the application of it, what we have to go for designing of application. Reactive and real-time think mainly embedded system has to be designed such a way that it should be reactive with respect to the whenever the input is going to be changes, then the output has to be changed. Mainly the scenario comes with respect to the anti-lock braking system, like whenever the brake has been applied, with it going to be calculated the rotational speed, and it going to be stop the vehicle on the smoother surface. A certain braking has going to be applied. If without any anti-locking of braking system is there, even though we are applied the brake on the smooth surface, the vehicle will travel for certain distance. So nothing but it going to be see the rotational speed, when nothing but the row on the roads, how it going to be having the surfaces, it going to be measured. That goes for the input side. It going to consider the inputs, and whenever the input has been changes, the output of this change has to be occurred. That is the main reactive component of embedded systems. So in this it has to see the scenario, whenever the input is going to be changed, the output has to be change of the cases. So mainly we has observed in this with the example of anti-braking system. So depending upon the surfaces on the road of the system has to be considered. Depending upon the surfaces, the anti-braking system has to be worked. It cannot apply the same force or the same friction on all the roads. Depending upon that the surface smoothness and the roughness surface, it has to be considered the friction force on the wheels. Next one, if you go for the air condition, it has to be adjust with respect to how much the temperature has been set by the user. Depending upon that, it has to sense what is the temperature has been present in the room. It has to consider that depending upon that temperature, it has to either increase the temperature or decrease the temperature. Suppose some user has been set the temperature to 18 degrees, but the room temperature is with respect to 28 degrees. So automatically what the sensors will capture, the room temperature has been high when compared with the user settings. So what the air condition of the thing is goes for, it going to increase the temperature of cooling effect is going to be increases. So whenever the cooling effect has been increasing by the air conditioner, so automatically the room temperature is going to be decreased of the case. So it mainly it going to consider the inputs by the sensor. Depending upon the input, it has to change their operation or it has to change their output task. So either it can increase the temperature or it can decrease the temperatures. So an embedded systems of this sensors mainly takes and accepts the input from the sensors. So the next one is operation and harsh environment. It is designed to, we have to design to operate in harsh environments, like suppose we have designed embedded system device at 30 degrees centigrade, but the device cannot be operated only in the temperature of 30 degrees. It can go for 50 degrees centigrade on the land also. It has to be operated properly without any damage with respect to the device. And in the normal the winter and the summers having the lot of variations in the temperatures. So whenever we are designing an embedded system devices, we have to consider what is the ranges of the embedded system device can be operatable temperature range. If the wider range is there, then it is the good embedded system device. So normally for different zones, for different areas having the different temperatures. So if the range is going to be high, of operating of temperature range is going to be high, it can be used throughout the world of the case. So with respect to the area of the subject variations, and we have to consider the temperature variations when we are designing with respect to embedded systems. Not only with respect to temperatures, and we have to see it can be operated mainly in the cases can it be able to sustainable to for any environmental conditions or not. If any environmental conditions are going to be changed also, the embedded system device has to withstand with that variations of environment. Then only the embedded system device is going to be application oriented throughout the world. Next parameter we have to consider with respect to the distributed. Normally for the distributed of the type of the things, we are going to take it out a larger embedded device, and in that larger embedded device it can have the subparts, a smaller embedded device, and each embedded device can have the task of independent task, but combining of all the independent tasks is going to be taken for the consideration of the total distributed embedded device. So simple, we have to think about that a larger embedded system is going to be there, internally having the so many number of small embedded systems are going to be there, and each embedded systems are going to be having their independent task. Combiningly all these independent tasks will form a larger independent task, that is the distributed independent task. Suppose take it out an example of automatic vending machine. It has to read the card reader, next it has to go for vending unit, next it has to go for independent of the embedded units has to work together to perform almost all the functions. When it comes to that ATM machine, the first we are going to insert our card. So once we have inserted the card, it has to read the card. After that reading card has been done, it has to go for validating, like the authentication purpose, like the person is the authorized persons or not. So once it has to go for the validating with respect to our passwords, it has to verify. Once the password has been successed, this is an once the password has been success, it has to go for the transaction unit. It has to perform the transactions, and once it has been, the transaction has been completed, how much the money has to be transferred or it has to withdraw, the currency counter has to count how many number of the counts it has to go for dispatching of the money. So it in the ATM itself there are having so many embedded systems and so many tasks has been there. Like first one is the card reader, it has to read the card, and next one is it has to go for validating the user's requirements, and next it has to go for a transaction unit, and next one it has to count how many the notes has been there, and after that whatever the money we have withdrawn, it has to go for printing of how much the money has been withdrawn by the person. So what is the total at last, what is the specific task of the ATM machine is just withdrawing of the money. So for withdrawing of the money, it is a specific task of application, but they're internally having the card reader task is there, after the transaction task is there, currency counter task is there, printing of the unit of the task is there. So combining these are the small embedded system task. Combiningly all these things going for distributing of the embedded system has been there. So that can visualize these independent systems are performing by step independently. One step has been over, the second steps is going to be started. Nothing but if the card we are going to insert only, then it requires the authorizations. After that authorization has been there, it has to go for transaction unit. It cannot directly go for like authorization, and it cannot go for transaction. If it goes for ATM machine is a waste. So that it go for independent task by one and other, they are going to be work together step by step in order to achieve the common goal. So what is the ATM machine common goal? In order to, if it is an authorized person, it has to dispatch the money, otherwise it does not has to dispatch the money. Next one is the small size and the weight. In this we already know that embedded system is going to perform the specific task. Whenever it is performing the specific task, we have to use less number of devices. Whenever we are able to use the less number of devices, then only the embedded system we can able to design in compact size. Otherwise the occupying of the area of the embedded system is going to be increases. Once the number of devices in the embedded system is going to be increases, then the size of the embedded system device will be increases, and the weight, automatically the weight of the embedded device is going to be increases. If it is goes for the bulky or the heavier one, it cannot be a popular one. So for that purpose and the power consumption is also going to be increases. In order to avoid these problems, for the designing purpose of an embedded system, we have to concentrate mainly on the small size and small weight. So for that purpose we have to use less number of components. If we are able to use a less number of components, automatically the size occupied by the components is going to be decreases. Once the size occupied by the going to be decreases, indirectly the space occupied by the embedded device is going to be decreases. Once the device are going to be size is decreased, indirectly the weight going to be less. So these, once the size, compact size and the lightweight is there, it can portable to anywhere. So that the embedded device is going to be a popular one, and having the more application of specific application, it becomes a popular device. And currently available, if you going for consideration of example with respect to the cell phones, previous olden days we have the normal telephone. In that case it is going to be fixed in that area, since it is occupying more size and it going to be having the weight, we cannot able to carry that. So in order to avoid that problem, later on for researching, they find with the cell phones. The cell phones came in 1919s such a way that the area of the telephone occupation has been reduced with respect to compact size, and the weight of the phone has been reduced, so that size is reduced and it is easy to carry, so that wired telephone has been converted to a portable mobile phone. So once we can able to portable having the device, so that the popularity of the cell phone has been increased, and the maximum features we can able to use in the cell phones nowadays, and that's why it has been become the popular one. And the next one is the power concerns. The utilization of the power should be more, nothing but the devices has to use less power, so that the power can be used for longer time, and whatever the power it is utilizing, it should not dissipate the more power. It has to just go for utilization. It cannot able to dissipate the power in terms of it. If it goes for that, the power is going to be wastaged. So when we are designing the embedded systems, we have to concentrate for low power concerns. When we are going to consider for low power concerns of the things, then the embedded device is going to be a popular one. So already we know that embedded system is going to perform a specific task only. So for that specific task, we have to use less number of components in it. If we are able to use less number of components, then the size is going to be decreases. When the size is decreased or less number of components is there, each and every component, suppose assume that one component is using 2 volts of power. If I am able to use only 3 components in that embedded system device, the power is going to be 2 into 3, nothing but only 6 volts. Suppose if I am going to design a embedded system device by using the 10 components, each device requires the 2 volts, nothing but 2 into 5, it goes for 10 components, nothing but 2 into 10, it goes for 20 volts. So that 6 volts and the 20 volts, the difference is huge. So we have to use the less number of components in the designing purpose, then only the power concerns can be reduced. And another thing, we have to concentrate whatever the power is there, the components has to utilize properly. It should not dissipate. If the components is going to be dissipate the power, we are going to lose the power. We cannot able to use for longer time. So mainly in this cases, the power concerns, we have to go for the production of high amount of the heat is there, then it requires the cooling requirements, and the cooling fans has been required. That goes for additional power requirement, and it requires the additional spaces. Once additional space has been there, it goes for bulkier one, nothing but the size is going to be increases. So in order to avoid all these problems, we have to design embedded system device with respect to less number of components. Select the device according to the low power components and the low power dropout, and the controlling of the processor with respect to the power saving modes. Whenever the power is less, it has to operate with respect to the saving modes only. And some of the devices are we can able to provide the power management and critical constraints of the battery operated of applications. Suppose the ending of the battery is there at the time, it has to indicate that the battery is in the low operated application mode, so it has to turn out. Best example, if you see the mobile phones, if the battery is full, it goes showing the screen with respect to in white color. When the battery is going for ending stage, it turns directly the white to the black. Since for the giving the light of black color, it does not require more battery. So you can use that power management and critical decision making systems for low power concerns also. So anyhow, if the power concerns has been there, like if the devices are using the less power, then the battery life will be the more, so that we can use for longer time, and it has to go for less dissipation of the power. These are the main things we have to remember whenever the embedded system designing is there. Thank you.